Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Pretty Nerdz podcast. It's your girl, Nay. Falan DeAnn is out this week, but no worries. Your girl got you. I will be delivering the latest in hot topics, relationships, and, of course, the nerd moment of the week. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in with the hot topics because we've got quite a few to cover. I'm going to start out a little light, just giving some updates as far as the NBA and the NBA bubble. Unless you guys are living under a rock or living in the bubble yourself, then you already know that the Los Angeles Lakers, they did win the Western Conference Finals, and the Miami Heat won the Eastern Conference Finals, setting up for a Lakers-Miami showdown starting either on Wednesday, I believe. I think it starts on Wednesday of this week. So if you're into basketball, obviously be looking out for that. Staying kind of in the basketball realm, unfortunately, there has been some pictures and things floating around of Delonte West not at his best. Good news, though, Mark Cuban, the owner for the Dallas Mavericks, he actually located him and is helping him to get into a rehabilitation center and all of that. So hopefully some good things can come out of that. Obviously, we know Delonte West struggles with bipolar disorder, amongst other things. So hopefully, he gets the help that he desperately needs and, gets back up on his feet because we love to see a good story and hopefully good things will happen for him once he gets into that center and gets the help that he needs. Also, just kind of really quickly, we saw Jordyn Woods celebrate her Jordan year, her 23rd birthday, and officially introduce her new mans to the world, Karl Anthony Towns. For those of you guys who aren't NBA savvy, then you don't know, but now I'm telling you, Karl Anthony Towns is actually a player in the NBA. I believe he plays for Milwaukee, Minnesota, Milwaukee. I always get those two confused because they both start with an M. But, right, because I think it's Milwaukee or Minnesota. Wait, because the Greek flick plays for, is it Milwaukee? Listen, I'm telling you, I always get those two confused. But y'all know, Karl Anthony Towns plays for one of those, either Milwaukee or Minnesota. Anyway, but needless to say, we got to see photos of those, their confirmation of their relationship, and they looked really cute together. So salute to them and happy belated to Miss Jordyn Woods. That seems to be all of the really light topics that we have. So let's go ahead and jump into the bigger topics. Oh, one more light topic. Really, really good news. Yari Sharp. I always say her name wrong. Yari Shardy. You guys know her. She plays on Blackish and Grownish as the daughter. She has actually been casted in the live action version of Peter Pan as Tinkerbell. So congratulations to her. We love to see it. Obviously, she's joining her Grownish co-star Haley in the Disney princess kind of realm, because we know that Haley was announced a while back that she will be playing Ariel in The Little Mermaid. So congratulations to them both. Congratulations to Yari. I can't wait to see it. I think she'll be good. I think she'll do a good job as Tinkerbell. So I'm happy to see it. I love to see it. So salute to that. Now, I guess we can go ahead and jump into the mess that is occurring. Obviously there's a lot of mess that happened over this last little weekend, basically this last little week or whatever. But just touching on it, obviously we spoke about it last week. We were on the brink of the decision that was coming down for the Breonna Taylor case in Louisville. Obviously now we have the decision. We saw that basically they did not bring about any charges. The only charge that was brought about was for one officer, and it was for wanton endangerment. Basically, he was charged for discharging his weapons into, her neighbors' homes. No charges were filed against the other officers that were involved in the shooting, and obviously no charges were filed for the murder of Breonna Taylor. Obviously, a lot of us are devastated by the news, saddened, just honestly it's just another case of another miscarriage of justice that has occurred. Now, now that it's been a couple of days, obviously there are tons of protests and things that have been occurring down in Louisville since then. We've seen her mother speak about how she felt betrayed, lied to, mistreated by the prosecuting attorney, Daniel Cameron. So, it's just been crazy in these last couple of days, but now we are getting even more information that is coming out. Obviously, in the initial hearings of this case, initial things that we were hearing about this case, we were told that there were no body cameras, that they didn't have enough money for body cameras there, or that they weren't wearing them. Now we are coming to find out, as there has been footage released from the aftermath of the incident, that there were not only body cameras, but that there were 45 body cameras present, on the scene that day that Breonna was murdered. We are also finding out that, the footage that was released, for whatever reason, apparently there's no footage of the actual event, from what they're saying anyway. Obviously, now we're with so many lies that they've told, who knows? But from what they're saying, there was no footage of the actual raid. But from the aftermath, there are a lot of questions being asked. As you can see in the aftermath, a lot of the police protocols were broken, from two of the officers actually leaving the scene, which is specifically against the Louisville protocol, the Louisville Police Department's protocol. Officers are not to leave a scene in the case of a shooting, but you had 2 officers who did actually leave the scene. You also had the other 4 officers who, again, went against protocol by entering the scene without an escort. When, someone has been killed or there has been, a shooting, the officers that are involved are not supposed to enter a scene unaccompanied without an escort. Obviously, especially, without CSI and all of that on the scene, because again, it can look bad. It can look as if they're attempting to tamper with the evidence. But we do see on the body cam footage that they do enter the scene unaccompanied by an escort on their own. We've also gotten even more evidence as far as from the trial. If you watch the Daniel Cameron press conference, when he gave his press conference, he basically tried to paint it as if the decision was made by the grand jury for there just to be that one charge. Now we know that one of the grand jurors actually sued, has filed a suit saying that they want the ability to talk and speak about the case and speak about their decision, and have the transcripts and the from what occurred, have that released. We just it's kind of like breaking news, I want to say, towards the end of yesterday, maybe even some early this morning. The attorney, obviously the prosecutor, Daniel Cameron, released a statement stating that he believes that the grand jury should be sealed in secret, but since the judge has ordered it, he will have the transcripts and recordings released. And in his little statement, he reveals that he felt like he presented enough of a case, and that we will all see that he presented enough of a case only for the wanton charges. He said that he didn't feel that there was enough evidence, or that the evidence supported that, to basically go for any other charges. From what you can deduce, and I think from what a lot of people can deduce, is that as the prosecutor, he made up his own mind, made the decision that he was not going to charge for these charges. And he only presented the only evidence he presented was what supported, to only do the wanton endangerment charges. He wasn't going after anything else, essentially. That's essentially what he was saying, or essentially what the gist of what came out of that statement. And the reason that the juror was suing is because they feel like he basically placed the blame on them, when the fact is that he did not present any evidence or or he wasn't asking them to, review for any other charges but that wanton endangerment charge. Essentially what it boils down to me, the way I see it, it seems as if he was acting more. You're supposed to be a prosecutor, but it seems like you were acting more as a defense attorney, for those police officers, as opposed to doing your job, doing what you are supposed to do for the state, what you were elected to do, because you are an elected official, and doing what and actually being a prosecutor. I'm hoping that after all of this, that he is forced to step down. We saw a really, really good video from Tamika Mallory. She is a activist. If you guys don't follow her, be sure to follow her, because she is a huge activist out there. She's always got boots on the ground during any of these type of situations. But basically we saw her give an incredible speech where she just let it be known, that he does not represent us, as we always say, all skin folk ain't your kinfolk, and just all around disgust with Daniel Cameron, point blank and period. Also, something else that I saw that came out, it was in a article from USA Today. It's also been floating around on a couple of different activist pages. First, we saw the autopsy report that was released for Breonna Taylor, where basically it says that she was hit with 6 to 7 shots, with the fatal shot being a shot to the heart that grazed her. It hit her pulmonary artery in her heart, and that basically she bled out, and that's what is, that is the reason that she died. Although the examiner said that he doesn't believe that her life could have been saved, or that she would have been saved. He said, it is odd that they didn't at least make an attempt to, get her emergency assistance, to even call for 911. They just let her bleed out and die. We also saw that the ballistic report was also released and reviewed. And according to the ballistic reports, and this is for all of you, naysayers out there saying that she deserved to be killed because her boyfriend fired or shot a cop. According to the ballistic reports that were released, the gun, the shot that her boyfriend fired, was not a match for the shot that hit the officer. So obviously, with the boyfriend only firing that one shot and the rest of the shots coming from the officers, that would mean that he was shot by a fellow officer, as opposed to, the boyfriend, as they were trying to paint. So as the picture that they were trying to paint. So just all around, we just keep getting more and more information that's coming out after that whole situation was released. At this point, we know that Louisville isn't going to do anything about it. The prosecutor, clearly, he isn't on the side of the people. All he cares about is, protecting his position and, supporting the officers and the cops and all that jazz. Hopefully, I guess the only hope now is, because there is a special investigation going on. So hopefully, something comes up from that and the special prosecutor decides to press charges and bring about, get Breonna some justice, because that's ultimately what we want to see. So obviously we will be, keeping an eye out on that and keeping you guys informed on that as we get more and more information coming in. And like I said, hopefully we'll get some justice for Breonna, because at this point it's just looking like a big bunch of lies and cover-ups on, the police department. It's just sounding like a whole bunch of corruption all the way down. You know what I mean? There's still questions on why the judge even signed the warrant. When they had the suspect already, in police custody. So, I mean, it's just, the whole situation is just looking real shady from the top down. You know what I mean? So we'll just have to kind of wait and see what comes of this special investigation and see what the special prosecutor decides to do in that regard. So kind of moving on from that, It's been crazy with these men out here. We saw that rapper Slim Jimmi. He's from, what's the name of that group? Why can I not remember? Slim Jimmi And why can I not remember the name of that group right now? Like, my mind is like super shot. I guess this is what happens when you record like super early in the morning, because my mind is just blanking right now. Ray Schmurda. That's the name of that group. Anyway, but yeah, so Slim Jimmy, he allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because, you know, he is currently denying it, but he allegedly knocked out the front teeth, or he knocked out the teeth of his pregnant ex-girlfriend. He is saying that it didn't occur, that it's a lie, but apparently his mama decided to get online and defend his actions by saying that her son has every right to defend himself against a woman who, you know, got herself pregnant or tricked him into apparently she tricked him or got herself pregnant and is trying to live off of him, and apparently she's, you know, abusive or, you know, whatever. That's according to the mama. So after her son denied that he did it, now she basically is confirming, you know, that he did do it. Apparently she didn't know code. She didn't know that her son was denying it. And so she's basically trying to allege it or justify it by, you know, throwing out all of these allegations. And first and foremost, I want to say, how the fuck does a woman get herself pregnant? Like, if I remember biology class correctly, like if I remember the birds and bees correctly, it takes a sperm and an egg, and you know, men produce sperms. Like, you have to have sex with a woman without any type of birth control, i.e. being on a pill, condoms, whatever. You know, you have to do that, and then you also have to not pull out. You know what I mean? You have to actually release your sperm into her vagina so that it can interact with her egg. So how the hell did she get herself pregnant? Like, make that shit make sense to me. And why would that be a justification for your son to knock her teeth out? Secondly, I am so tired of you male identified toxic ass females running around here attempting to justify men physically beating women just because, quote unquote, they attack them or this, that, and the other. They should know you can't put hands. I 100% agree that nobody should be putting hands on anybody. We're adults. As adults, don't put your hands on other people. You learned that when you were a child, or at least you should have. However, there is never, ever a justification for a man to act in such brute force that you knock a woman's front teeth out. Unless unless she has a weapon, i.e. she's stabbing at you with a knife or coming at you with a knife or anything like that. Like, there is no justification to can you imagine how hard you have to hit someone to knock their front fucking teeth out? Like, and y'all, and like, folks are literally running around justifying that shit. Not only that, imagine the type of man you have to be to know that a woman is literally carrying a part of you, and to act in that type of brutality towards her. Like, I don't know who out here making y'all, but shit, like, it's disgusting. Point blank and period. Well, actually, you know what? I do know who's out here making y'all. It's them toxic ass, male identified, pick me ass women that's out here making y'all bitch ass type of men. Because that's what it is. Y'all bitch ass type of men. Okay? I know plenty of dudes out there who are man enough, adult enough to control their anger, to control their aggression, who understand even if they feel like a woman is in the wrong, who have never, ever put their hands on a woman. So I can't see it. I can't understand it. I can't get where, You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many options. Like, you don't even have to strike a woman. You know what I'm saying? Men, from what they're, all the things that y'all told, men are physically stronger than women according to y'all. So why not just restrain her? Lock her up. Like I said, she don't got no weapon coming towards you. Could you not just put your arms around her to lock her up so she can't attack you if you really felt like she was coming at you that much? You know what I'm saying? Like, I am so confused. Like, I don't understand. Like, I guess maybe the level of man that I'm used to being around, or the caliber of men that I'm used to being around, the father that I have, the brother that I have, I can't understand it. I don't get it. It don't make sense to me. Like, I'm lost. I can't justify it to me. You can't make it make sense to me. But needless to say, that whole situation has occurred, and we will kind of see what comes of that. Because the young woman, she did go to the hospital to kind of deal with the damages of that whole situation. I don't know if she actually went through with pressing charges or whatnot. But we'll see if anything comes of that situation. Now, kind of staying in that realm, of fuckery and of bitch assness and of punk bitch ass men, Daystar, Tory Lanez, he basically decides to, instead of, it's been months since the incident between him and Meg Thee Stallion occurred. It happened back in June or July. I think it was July. It might have been July. Or maybe June. I don't know. It was June or July when the actual incident between him and Meg Thee Stallion occurred, where he essentially shot Meg Thee Stallion. And instead of him, addressing it, giving a speech, he basically decides to, quote unquote, break his silence. He attempts to imply that he's going to go live and talk about it. But no, instead he drops a whole 16-17 track album, basically in an attempt. And I think Keke Palmer, she if you saw the video that she put up, she put it in the best way, in my opinion. He dropped a whole album instead of kind of owning up to the shit that he did, shooting a woman. He drops a whole album gaslighting her in order to, in the court of public opinion, in order to kind of get these folks to drag her, turn against her, whatever like that. Like, I fully cannot understand what is so complicated about believing women. Like, make that shit make sense. What is so complicated about believing women? More than that, what is so fucking complicated about believing black women? When she came out and she said, "This man shot me," it was every single, oh man, I'm not sure. Like, I need to hear his side of the, what, you know what I'm saying? What is all of, why is there never just a full out, you know what? We believe you. We believe that this occurred. You know what I mean? Why is it always like a question? Why is it always like a you know what I mean? Like we as black women, it's like we're liars until there's proof that we're telling the truth. And then when you get proof, we still fucking liars. Y'all got proof. She didn't have to, or they didn't have to obtain it, or she didn't have to show it, but she showed not only the photos from her being in the hospital, but they released her the medical information showing that yes, indeed, she was fucking shot. So y'all got the proof and y'all still calling her a fucking liar. And not only are you calling her a liar, but you're saying you believe him more because it sounded good on the beat. Like, make that shit make sense. So because he made a quote unquote hot album, he telling the truth? Make the shit make sense to me, y'all. From what we know, from what has been confirmed, there was 3 fucking people in that car. Meg Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez, and her friend Kelsey. according to both according to Megan, Kelsey, and Tory, Kelsey didn't shoot her. We know Meg didn't shoot herself. So the only other fucking person in the car is Tory fucking Lanez. So somebody make that shit make sense to me. So if you didn't confirm that, you know what I'm saying? If you, Tory Lanez, didn't confirm that Kelsey didn't shoot her, the only other person in the car, then nigga, that means you did. Like, somebody make the shit make sense to me. And of course, I didn't listen to the album. I didn't, from the time that it came out that he shot, that where Meg confirmed that he shot her. I went on my Tidal app, all of that, and completely, like, because they have where you can block an artist and you don't get none of their music. So I'm not getting, streaming, none of my coins will go towards a nigga who's abusive to women. None of them. None of my coins will go towards a nigga who shot a woman. So no, I do not listen to Tory Lanez and won't be listening to him again. But from all the little clips online and from what everybody is saying, according to the people who actually listen to it, they claim that on one of the little tracks on there, he does initially, he does in all his little gaslighting and attempting to put their little business out on Front Street. He attempts to justify shooting her by saying, that she was jealous of supposedly, Kylie or whatever like that, and all of that type of bullshit. Honestly, I'm just utterly disgusted. I'm disgusted that he made the decision to address it in that way, to make an album. I am disgusted in the amount of people who supported it. I am disgusted in the amount, and the thing that bothers me the more than anything, because in all honesty, I expect men to be men and they rocking with the dude. The thing that utterly disgusts me the most is y'all women. It's y'all women for me. To sit and justify the shit that y'all justify, to attack, drag, and throw dirt at another woman in the way that y'all do, it just utterly disgusts me. Like, to know that this man shot this woman, but because the records sound good to you, I gotta listen to it, I gotta support it, he ain't canceled. That's how niggas like R. Kelly still run around in this bitch, and that's just facts. That's why you got 8 or 9 little, which was pathetic on its own right, 8 or 9 little people running around in Brooklyn holding free R. Kelly rallies. That's why you got these little small ass crowds in Chicago running around doing free R. Kelly rallies, because of fucking women. Fucking other black women running around and supporting these trash ass niggas. It's just, it boggles my fucking mind. And it's the part of the situation that irritates my spirit the most. Because for you to be another woman, and in all honesty, the only reason you could do it is because you feel like if I do this, then a man gonna choose me. Boo boo, you not gonna get chose, baby. It's not, you know what I'm saying? If you drag another woman, if you tear down another woman, these dudes they still not gonna choose you, boo. You still not gonna be the one over them. So I don't understand. It just boggles my mind. It disgusts me all the way around. But getting back to Tory fucking Lanez. Not only to have the audacity to drop it as an album, but then to drop the album after the insensitivity of it, to drop the album after, as a country, we've just got the information in regards to the Breonna Taylor case, and knowing that Breonna Taylor didn't receive the justice that she deserved. So for you to drop an album essentially dragging another black woman after we just had to deal with the shit that came with the Breonna Taylor case was not only insensitive, but then for you to attempt to justify it and try to play on people's sympathies by saying, oh, but this is when, my mom passed, or this, that, and the other, which in my mind, the cynical mind that I have, I'm thinking, oh, okay, so this shit was planned. So that's why you was being quiet, because you could have dropped that album, at any point. You could have, you've like I said, the incident occurred back in July. So it's fucking September. You could have dropped that shit in August. You could have, you know what I mean? Like, so basically you had this planned out for this whole time, instead of just coming out and speaking, if your piece or whatever like that. You've had this plan this whole time to basically try to discredit her. It just, honestly, he's pathetic, and it disgusts me. And then to even make it worse, to just kind of compound on that, because you find out that, you're starting to hear the numbers, you're seeing that none from Apple to Spotify to Tidal, none of them are putting you on any of their playlists. None of them are supporting the Daystar album. So if people want to stream it, then they have to, go through harder links then, because normally when albums and stuff like that first drop, they're right there up on any of like the little streaming platforms. They're right there up on like the what's new page and all of that jazz. So none of the streaming services has added any of the Daystar album to that. So once you start to hear all of that, you start to get a little bit of flack about the Breonna Taylor thing. Then all of a sudden, oh yeah, and by the way, if you buy the album, half the proceeds are going to Breonna Taylor. Like, to use her name in the situation that's going on with Breonna Taylor in order to make money, just, when I tell y'all, it just makes my blood boil. Like, that man is so fucking pathetic and disgusting to me. Obviously, we shall see whatever his court case is scheduled for next month. His first hearing will be sometime next month in October. So we'll hear more from that. So we do know, I guess, from the little snippets or whatever that were floating around online, that Meg did sign an affidavit. So she did come forward eventually. I mean, she did say in her live, when she gave her live and named him as the person who shot her, she did say that initially she did not speak up about it because of, I guess, she felt some compassion towards him. But needless to say, the whole thing does not sit right with my spirit. It just disgusts me. In all honesty, there's nothing that can be said to me. It's just disgusting all around. So, that's the end on that. I hate to end it on such a yucky note, but that's all the hot topics that I do have for today. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and jump into the relationship portion of the show. And this week's relationship question is, do you believe that a relationship that's built on the notion of opposites attract? So basically two people who are opposites and, they feel they have this attraction or whatever like that. So their relationship is built on that. Do you believe that it can be successful and long lasting? So my response to that is yes. I do think that, obviously we all seen it and kind of know that opposites do attract. We do know that those relationships, well, at least I've seen, or I do know that those type of relationships can last. They can be successful. They can work. I will say, though, that they do require a lot more work and I will say a really, really, really heavy dose of really good communication. Like, I think that sometimes when you have that reverse, when you have people who are similar, who have similar love languages, similar communication styles, that they can get away with, having those lack of communication because they have those other strengths to lean on. But I think that when people are completely opposite, when they love completely different or they love different ways, that it's definitely a lot more work, and your communication has to be top notch. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be no type of childish ass bullshit or anything like that. Like, you have to have top notch communication in order for it to make it work. But I definitely think it can work. And I will also say that in those situations, like where you have those opposites, I have seen some of those relationships have turned out to be, in my opinion, some of the better relationships, because they do have to work so much harder and because they do have to have such top-notch communication. I feel like I've seen those relationships be some of the more healthier relationships that I have seen. So I definitely think it can work. Like I said, I think you have to have top-notch communication, and put in the work. And also not just the work in the relationship, but also the work on yourself. Because I feel like you also have to know yourself pretty well. Like I said, knowing your love language, knowing the way you communicate, knowing the way that you argue. You know what I mean? So those are always important things in any relationship. But I think that especially in a relationship where you guys are so distinctly different, it's important for you to definitely lean into those things. And that is the relationship question of the week. I do want to hear from you guys, so make sure you hit the website prettynerdspodcast.com, and that's nerds with the Z, obviously. And if you hit the little tab to communicate with us, you can go ahead and shoot us an email, or also on our social media account. It's Pretty Nerdz Podcast, and any of our social media accounts, and just kind of drop us a line and let me know, what you think as far as the relationship question of the week. And now I am going to go ahead and jump into the nerd moment of the week. And as you guys know, this is my favorite portion of the show. This week, the nerd moment is a couple of just quick hitters. First and foremost, congratulations to Aldris Hodge with his super gorgeous, sexy self. He has been tapped to play Birdman in The Rock's Black Adam film. So super excited about that. Super excited to see it. I love me some Aldris Hodge. I loved him since he was on Leverage. So salute to him and congratulations to him. I know he was super excited about landing that role, and I'm super excited. I'm getting more and more excited now about seeing Black Adam. I wasn't originally excited about seeing it because I feel like The Rock can sometimes, his movies are hit or miss for me, but now I'm starting to get more excited about seeing it. So I definitely might be checking that one out. Also, we've talked about The Boys several times here, the show that comes on Amazon. They are currently in the process of working on a spinoff. They have a spinoff in the works for the Boys series. So hopefully that should be good. I enjoy the series. So we'll see what the spinoff does. I don't know. A lot of times, though, I will say that when you get into the spinoff territory and all that, it's never like, it's hit or miss. So we shall see what kind of comes of that in regards to the spinoff. And just like a last little kind of quick hitter, obviously you should have heard the news, or you shouldn't be surprised by the news, but obviously Black Widow has been pushed back to 2021, as well as any of the other Marvel movies that were due for later releases has been pushed back to 2021. So this will be the first year since 2009, so that we will not get any Marvel movie this year. So kind of sucks, because I do enjoy, like I said, I do enjoy my good Marvel or DC movies. So I was actually looking forward to Black Widow just from the previews. It looked interesting. I was actually going to check it out, but nonetheless, it has been pushed back. So we will not be getting any new Marvel films this year. But sidebar and kind of good news is we will still be on the TV front. We shall be getting some television shows. I believe the Falcon and the Winter Soldier shall be coming late in the towards the end of the year, and we also. Because we got the first official trailer to WandaVision, which looks really, really good, by the way. So I'm excited for that. Obviously, everybody else is excited too, because it's one of the highly viewed trailers that has come out. So but it just looked really just FYI, it looked really, really good. Like, I enjoy the story of Scarlet Witch from the comics. I think she's one of the stronger mutants that there are. So I'm like excited about it. I'm excited to see kind of what's going to come of it. I'm hoping, is that going to be the way then that they kind of, because obviously we were hearing the rumors that the way that they were going to bring in the X-Men or introduce the X-Men was going to be in Captain Marvel. But, you know, maybe we'll get some hints of it in, you know, WandaVision. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. And that is it for me. That's the end of the nerd moment of the week. And I do want to hear from you guys. So make sure that you're following us on social media. It's Pretty Nerdz Podcast. That's nerds with the Z. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. As I stated last week, we are officially on the Amazon Music podcast. So if you got an Alexa or whatever like that, you can go ahead and, you know, tell Alexa to play that Pretty Nerdz podcast for you so you can stay up on the show. Obviously we're on Apple, Spotify, you know, all of the usuals. So you can enjoy us on, you know, any time or any of your favorite little cast sites. And if you don't want to do all of that, you can always go to our website, prettynerdspodcast.com, and you can listen right there from our website. So yeah, again, thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Bye guys.